Very good evening and welcome to the India Development Debate. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Today we're going to be talking about one of the largest deals in the consumer internet space in recent times. And it's a brand that most of you are possibly very familiar with. Now, what started as a small online jewelry store in 2008 just rose, catapulted into a company valued over $2 billion after Titan bought its remaining stake in CaratLane for almost 4,600 crore rupees. That's for about 27% of the company, making the man behind CaratLane, Mithun Sacheti, one of the most successful exits by an Indian online platform. The deal ranks as the second largest exit for an e-commerce founder in India after Flipkart founders Sachin, Bansal and Binny Bansal sold their stake to Walmart. But it's also very interesting because it gives us an opportunity today to track the rise of this brand and changes in the way Indians are buying jewelry. I've got a chance today to speak with Sacheti, who comes from a family of jewelers from Mumbai and is a certified gemologist himself, and really is one of the key founders, the key founder behind the massive success of CaratLane today. Mithun Sacheti, thank you so much for speaking with us here on ET Now. Let me begin by asking you why. Why at this point did you decide to exit the business?
Firstly, thank you for having me over here. The exit was the document in 2016 when we came together allowed for Tatas to acquire the balance equity, more so Titan to acquire the balance equity. And once it became clear to them that an IPO is not an option that they're looking at, I think they felt that it might be a good idea for them to acquire now, because at the pace at which this company is growing, and they don't see partnerships between individuals and companies, or rather they're a corporate and I'm an individual, and that might not possibly go over generations. So it might be good to do this now, because later on it might get a lot more expensive. So we discussed, debated this for a little while, went back and forth on it, and I could understand their viewpoint on that. And one thing you do in partnerships is you solve for each other. And I think we've done a great job, and I think what you see as value and what you see as what we built with the business, it's because of a great partnership. And that reflects today very clearly in my decision and their ability to cough up this money for this as well also.
Absolutely. It definitely reflects the value. I was also asking from the point of view of, was it a difficult decision for you to exit a business that you have nursed from day one? And, you know, before you come to that, let's come to the origin story. Back to 2008. And of course, jewelry is something you're very familiar with, your family is very familiar with. But how did the idea of this avatar of selling jewelry come to you?
So, familiarity is certainly there. What I had learned in my 8 years of work before that, and I had moved from Bombay to Chennai to build extension of my family business over there, Jaipur Gems. And what I'd learned in the 8 years was that I had learned the skill sets to make beautiful jewelry. I had learned how to build a business. And what I really lacked was two things. One, of course, we didn't have that kind of capital. And the second thing was that we served a very small set of consumers. And so my desire was always to serve a larger set of consumers. And looking at how internet was playing out, I thought the internet was the right place to get a large set of consumers and make this for everyday jewelry. And we possibly we could do something different and we could build something large. Of course, the dreams were to build a 100 crore business back then. But dreams are what they are. They're just markers in your life journey. And so we moved forward from there and we sort of kept building on.
But, it's interesting because 2008, to buy jewelry online was a very different time. I think people now believe it's an ordinary, everyday kind of exercise. No one bats an eyelid. At that time, it was still something you had to take a leap of faith in as consumers, where you move from your local jewelry store where you trust someone to give you the right amount of gold and good value stones, etc., to buying online. Was that one of the struggles when you were looking for people to invest as well?
Certainly it was. First to invest, and secondly for my own conviction as well also. I was young. and I saw the world full of opportunities. And I thought that if I start something, people will buy because there's a rational reason why they should buy as well also. But as you start a business and you realize that it's your desire to start a business, but it's not your birthright that the consumer is going to buy. And that's not how the start was. It was very rocky. Getting capital was hard. It took 3 or 4 years to go to different people, try and raise capital from everybody, and everyone will say good progress, but keep moving forward and we'll see. Till in 2011 end, towards that, Tiger Global came by and sort of decided to put capital in CaratLane. But till then, it was very, very hard.
Yeah, so Tiger Global was, I would say, the first pivot, and the second one being the Tata Group coming on board. That must have been the big game changer, wasn't it?
So what we did by ourselves was we found product market fit. What we did with Tiger is that we figured out what does it take to scale this business? We figured it out with them. Once we had figured that out, I think the path was clear to us of what we wanted to build. And it was a little different from how Tiger viewed their investments, because they were very, very tech heavy and we were consumer heavy. So I think the best partnership then was with Titan. And that's how we convinced Tiger about it as well. And we sort of moved on from Tiger to Titan. And I think we've possibly had two best names, right? Tiger Global in the VC world and Tata's in the strategic world, and sort of build our business. So I think we solved for ourselves through our partnerships. But to get into those partnerships, we always solve for our partners as well.
You know, obviously with the whole Titan partnership came the perks of meeting some of the best minds in investment. And you have been speaking about your relationship with RJ, with Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, the advice he gave you. Tell us what really stuck with you.
Oh my God. With him, there's so much that stuck with me. First things first, that you build businesses profitably, and you don't sort of, and if you don't do that, you don't have a seat on the table. And I think that's a very important lesson for me, at least in verticals. There's no reason for verticals to be the way they are. Secondly, you respect your partners. You don't know everything. They know a lot of stuff, and you have to accept the fact that what they are good at is what you just take blindly from them. You don't argue about that and build it as well. Third, the art of negotiation. I think that was something that I learned, and we would talk about this day to come for nights together. And he would teach me a lot about it all the way, saying, you know, how will it play out and what do you need to do and how do you hold your nerve and everything else like that. So, because I'm impulsive, and how do you curb that is something I learned a lot from him. I mean, I could write a book one day about everything that I learned from him.
You should. You absolutely should. What was that equation like? Was it Guru Shishya? Was it, friends? What was that equation like? And was it sort of an unusual mentorship you found in the middle of where you are?
There was a man with a heart of gold who I would consider a mentor, and he would consider me a friend. Every single day, every single time that I met him, and I speak to him multiple times a week, I would just walk away with something interesting. His curiosity was so much that he would always ask you those questions, then ask you a second question about it. And then I think it was insatiable the way he would look at things. I was just lucky that he chose to share all that wisdom with me. And I think I would also be, I just don't know why he chose to, but I was a massive beneficiary of his wisdom.
What's next for you, Mithun Sacheti? And, I asked you a question earlier that do you feel, is it emotional for you walking away from such a successful baby that has now grown and you hand over in entirety to the Tata Group? Is it emotional for you, and what next?
Yes, it is massively emotional. The first day that this happened on Saturday, and when everybody tried to reach me, I was unreachable, obviously, because I switched my phone off. I couldn't deal with it. It's a very, very difficult decision for any founder, and most founders would agree to this. People see the outcome in the cash that comes, but in a founder's mind, the value of the business was there even before the cash came. It's just the world discovers it on the day cash comes. And this is a category in which we were compounding 50% CAGR what else in life do you find that compounds like that? And so both from a value creation perspective, both from an emotional perspective, it is a very difficult decision, but it's a decision which is in the interest of the business. I firmly believe that an entrepreneur has 3 lives and funds have 10 lives, but a business has only 1 life. And in the interest of the business, if you take care of the business, it'll take care of the entrepreneur and the fund as well. Well, there's no fund, there was perpetuity capital, but I have no doubt that we took the right decision in the interest of CaratLane.
Yeah. And what about, the what next for you? What does the rest of your week look like once you finish all these slew of interviews? Is it time to enjoy the fact that you've made such a huge access to this brand and frankly also changed people's habits? Changing consumer habits at the end of the day would be the big takeaway, I suspect. Even apart from the valuation, you've changed the way people buy jewelry and wear jewelry in this country.
I feel proud of that certainly we've changed the way people's relationship with jewelry has changed, and I feel super proud of this. This brand or this category, I won't say this brand alone, but this category is the blue chip in the jewelry business, and Titan plays this in multiple ways as well. I think it is that part of the business that has a 40% compounding for the next 10, 15 years. And somebody someday might say that, this is the guy who sort of saw it early and started it. So I feel great, and I think I'll get some chuckle and kick out of that. But for now, I think I learned a few skill sets around Omni, around building businesses, around cash flow. And I'd love to find founders and work with people who I can sort of, I can partner with them and sort of invest along with them. Working through funds is a better structure, so I'm going to do that. I'm a sponsor in a fund called Singularity. I work very, very closely in that with Yash Kela and Madhu Kela, and I work very closely on another early stage fund with Binny and in O21, which is spearheaded by Sailesh. So I look forward to doing that, but there's going to be a lot more. I think this is just what I was always doing. Just give it a little more time now.
Any one sector you've sort of narrowed down on? What looks interesting? More stuff which is consumer facing or, in different fields perhaps, retail? What are the kind of sectors that look interesting to you or problems for which you want to find solutions?
I think certainly consumer. I think India has its own peculiar behavior. We're very value conscious, but at the same time, we want to go higher up in our consumption patterns. And the world is changing a lot as well at this point. The rate of change is so much different than what it used to be before. All of these requires unique solutions in every category. CaratLane really is a unique solution in its own category. And every category, whether it is luggage, whether it is anything else also, you're going to see unique solutions come by. I would look to be in consumer-facing businesses. That's what I enjoy. And I look forward to sort of working with founders, because I do believe that founders bring you the next practices that sort of build the business forward, while strategics build you best practices. It's a borrowed line from C.K. Prahlad, so I must give credit. But the combination of these two is what CaratLane was, and I hope that somewhere else we can build something extraordinary.
Absolutely. Great speaking with you, Mithun Sacheti. Congratulations on all the success and best of luck. We look forward to seeing what comes next.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the show.